Hey there, everyone. I hope you're doing well. Today, I want to talk about small business owners or solo entrepreneurs and some of the feelings I've heard come up in my clients and some of my prospects recently. Most of my clients, their business is something else in the front. It's not office based. They may be part of a skilled trades. They may own their own fitness studio or bakery. But whatever the moneymaker is, they're great at that, and they're actually, maybe doing well. It's the back office kind of operations and processes, especially as they start to grow, that can sometimes be a real challenge. And what often accompanies this is kind of a sense of loneliness because they just feel like there's no one else out there to help them bat around ideas, to help them come up with plans. And that's understandable. And it's also okay. It's perfectly normal. So one of the things I just want to take a moment and remind people about is that there are lots of resources out there. And I want to encourage people not to necessarily make assumptions that, well, I can't afford that, or so-and-so told me that's a waste of time, so I'm not even going to look into it. That mindset is the most limiting of mindsets. Yes, others have been there, they've blazed a trail, but something that I realize is that, organizations exist, like let's say the Small Business Association, SBA. They exist, and some people find those resources extremely helpful, and other people not so much. But the only way for you to really know is to dive in and see what they have to offer. You could find a really great free mentor that could be invaluable to you. You could find a class that gets you started and, thinking of finances or strategy in just a different way than you've looked at it before, and you could be off to the races. If you just listen to the naysayers who say it wasn't beneficial to them, then you're just cutting yourself off before you even get started. So really work through that and give things a whirl. I often hear the same thing about referral groups. So I belong to CirrusNet. There are referral groups called Local Business Networking, LBN, I think is what it's called, and BNI. That's a really popular one. They're not all the same. They're very different. And so I would encourage you to go visit some meetings, go visit different meetings of the same kind of classification, because it's all about the people who are members and the time of day. Does that work into your schedule? But people who just kind of, frown upon referral groups, they may have had a terrible experience. They may not have had a great group. Maybe the system of that particular group didn't work for them, but totally different networking referral group company may be the right answer. So go exploring. Think about it as a big adventure and see if you can find a group or two that fits your needs and can really help your business grow. There's a side benefit. Most of these groups meet several times a month, if not weekly. So you're going to form relationships with these people. And they're also typically small business owners, or at least managers, significant decision makers in their small business. That's important because once you start building relationships with these folks, you will have some people to bat ideas around with, and you won't feel so isolated and alone, which is really what we're trying to tackle here. Last but not least are people like yours truly, those business consultants and coaches out there. A lot of people have had terrible experiences. I am not going to fib. I have had some less than stellar experiences with consultants and coaches. And it happens, right? Again, we're all human. Things start out one way and maybe they shift and change and it doesn't feel great. So if something feels uncomfortable, like if you're talking to someone and it just doesn't feel right, trust your gut. Don't sign a long-term contract if it doesn't feel right. Don't sacrifice your budget if that is just going to cause you more stress. You know yourself the best. Honor yourself. When something doesn't feel right, despite maybe some sales pressure or whatever you're feeling, go with your gut. But at least have some conversations. Don't assume that you can't afford it. There are coaches and consultants at all kinds of price points. And guess what? Everything is negotiable. I know a lot of people will say that's not true. And maybe for some people, you'll be in a conversation and they'll say, no, this is my price, take it or leave it. But I've seen and heard of lots of creative pricing. I have heard of the monthly fee being slashed in half in exchange for a certain percentage of profits. That's a really creative way of doing it. I've heard of maybe the program being slightly changed to accommodate a certain client because the fit is great and everyone really wants to work together. And then people just have different investment levels and different processes and programs. And I'm not saying that you should necessarily go with the lowest price. That is not what I'm saying. Again, go exploring. Get to know a few people. Talk to them. Have a few conversations. Get to know what they're really like, what they're offering, and see if something makes sense in there. You just never know. But if you don't do that exploring with an open mind and an open heart, you're going to continue to feel that loneliness and isolation. So I want you to get out there. I want you to go exploring. I want you to take advantage of things that are there for the taking, ready for you, waiting for you to go join them. All right, I hope that you all get out there and maybe go exploring and take on a new challenge, and I will talk with you soon.